Okay, we're on live now, right? Oh, hello everyone. Okay, no one's here. Okay, we're on live now, right? No, I'm not Teacher Ethan. Teacher Ethan is live in Chinese channel. Okay, I'm Teacher Mark. I'll be doing the YouTube live. We'll wait for hello. We'll wait for several more minutes. Okay, so we'll start our final tip around 7. Yeah, hi, good evening. So how's everyone prepared for special round? For teacher mark, please. Yes, right. I'm the one who did the lesson 6 combinatorics in short-term class. Yeah. Oh no, sorry. My bad. 6:30, not 7. 6:30. So in a minute or two, we'll start. So you're quite well prepared. Okay, confident in getting a goal. All right. Okay, good. So should we wait for more people coming in? All right, one more minute. We'll begin. Gold medal. Top 30. Oh, so okay. So you're aiming for the top 30, right? Good. That's good. So I think only top 30, top 10. Well, you already get a silver once you pass the first round. So if you are in a special round, you already get a silver at least. All right, so yeah, you aim for top 20. Very good. Okay, I see good students here. All right, so today, this teacher Mark. Okay, that's me. So today I'm going to share about some tips. Okay, for the special round. So for today's live, we have 4 parts, right? But the knowledge points, time arrangement, some strategies, and some good how to overcome your limitations, right? So in the first part, well, I'm not going to talk about any questions today because we have done this a lot in the past months, right? So the first part, the knowledge point, I'm going to walk through some most important must-know knowledge point in the NMOS Special Round, so you can get prepared. Maybe look at the notes, okay, tomorrow or the day after before the exam. Well, so first of all, we all know that the NMOS Special Round is on Tuesday, the August 1st. Okay, it's 3:30 to 5 p.m. Okay, it's held in the NUSH. Alright. So let's first talk about what are the features of round 2 paper. Okay. So round 2 paper, we know that only 20 questions. Okay, 20 questions. So basically, yeah, hi everyone. So basically, the difficulty level among these 20 questions are quite balanced. So that means the easy question and the difficult question, okay, there ain't many difficult difference between them. And also, NMOS question focus heavily on the algebra and calculation. So NMOS NUSH want students to use algebra in their when answering their questions, okay? And NMOS have many enumeration questions. So when you do the enumeration, there are heavy duty on the calculation. Okay, that's the second part. So third part is that they test similar questions in consecutive years. So if you have done the 2018 to 2022 past year papers, you can see many similar questions. Like the first question, you always have the fraction calculation, right? And in the last two questions, you have some Pythagorean Theorem, you have the logic reasoning, right? So they do test similar questions in consecutive years. So we can expect that they still test the similar questions in this year, okay? But according to NUSH, this year's paper will be a lot harder than last year's. So you need to get prepared for this, okay? And in every year's paper, there are about 1 to 2 very challenging questions. Okay, so these questions ask you geometry. They test about the Pythagorean theorem. They test about the hypotenuse diagram, right? So if you do remember the 2019 paper, they have a very difficult hypotenuse diagram question. Okay, so this form test the secondary school materials. Okay. And the fifth important feature is that each question matters because we only have 4 points question and 5 points question, right? So you do a easy 4-point question correct and you do a difficult 5-point question correct, you only have 1 mark difference. Okay, so if you can do, so you need to pay a lot of attention to the easy question. Well, I don't mean the easy question, but the basic questions, okay? And you need to try your best to do every question because every question will result in a very difficult, different score, right? So 5 marks will give you a very good advantage. So let's see what are the important knowledge points in the special round, okay? So we know that there are key. So we know that there are 6 important modules, right? Calculation, number theory, counting, word problem, geometry, and combinatorics. Okay, so let's see what is the first important knowledge point. Okay, now the first thing is about fraction calculation, right? So like I said, NMOS like to test fraction calculation in 4-point question in part 1. Okay, normally it's the first question. I would say if you understand how this works, you can get easy 4 marks. Okay, so this part, if you look at this question, you know that the numerator should be equal to the difference of 2 numbers in the denominator. Okay, so this is the part you need to know. All right, then the next most known part is fraction comparison, right? Okay, so fraction comparison is if you have a question like this, okay, you are given very large numbers in the fraction, okay? I mean, you can do calculation to find out the answer. It works. If you really don't know how to solve this, you can do calculation, okay? It won't take you very long. But here you can use very simple comparison to find the range of the answer, right? So you can find the upper bound and lower bound of this. Yes, I know that's easy. Times 5. Oh, the first question times 5 and divide by 5. Okay. So in this question, in fraction comparison question, what you need to do is to find the range for this fraction. Okay. So that's another important part in calculation. Now we can move on to see the third part. Third part, a very common question tested in calculation module is the column puzzle. Okay, it's the number puzzles. So when you have column puzzle questions, you can work from the back. You can work from the zero. You can work from the result, right? So you work backwardly. Okay. Also, what I would like to do is to when you see a division problem, I would like to do multiplication, because multiplication is a lot easier than division. Okay. So sometimes what I did is turn a division problem into multiplication and then try to solve the problem. Also, in this question, you shouldn't be afraid to try the number, try the answers. Okay, you need to do enumeration in calculation. Some students said, teacher, enumeration is so tedious, it takes so long. Okay, it takes a lot of work. But NUSH wants you to do that. Okay, so when you can do enumeration and enumeration can solve the problem, just do the enumeration. Okay. All right. Then we have the word problem part. Word problem part, the very common question is distance problem. So in past year papers, there are around 1 to 2 distance problem questions. Okay. The distance problem question only care about 3 things, right? 3 things. We only care about distance, speed, time, right? So all you need to do is to master the relationship between these 2 objects. Okay, so what I like to do is I draw a diagram to show all the information in the distance problem. Because when you have, see how many rows, okay, if you have 8 rows in a question, it's very long. Okay, there are many useless information in the question. So we can draw a diagram, or we can list a table. Okay, to list all the information in a diagram or in a table. Then you use the difference in speed or difference in distance, okay, to find out, to construct some equations and try to solve the problem. Okay, so I talked about some strategy when you try to solve the word problem. Okay, when you try to solve the distance problem. Okay, one more thing to mention is that distance problem. Okay, many of the distance problem you can try to solve it using ratio. So the rate, if the distance traveled is same for 2 objects, say, okay, then the ratio between their speed is inversely proportional to the time taken. Okay, so that means the speed of A, the ratio between speed A to speed B is equal to the time of B to the time of A. Okay, that's the ratio. Just acing the. Okay, I think if you want to get into IMO, you really need some extra training. Okay, IMO is not easy. Yes, and let's come back. So another thing about ratio is that if the time taken is constant, the time taken is same for 2 objects, then the speed and distance is proportional. Okay. Now that's all about the distance problem. So my advice is to draw a diagram and list the information in the diagram. And you also have the inclusion and exclusion problem. You also have the inclusion and exclusion problem. Yes, industrial. This is correct. Okay, if you want to get into IMO, NMOS is a little bit too easy. Okay, so you do need some extra training for the IMO. Okay, and for the inclusion and exclusion problem, the method we use is Venn diagram, right? But also here, what I encourage students to do is to do enumeration, to list. Okay, it's not a bad method, even though it takes a long time, but it's not a bad method. Okay, it's a good method actually. So I call every method that leads up to the correct answer good method. Okay, don't be hesitate. Don't be afraid to use the enumeration. Don't be afraid to do the listing. Okay. All right, and we come to the number series. So for the number series, some important thing is, well, first of all, the divisibility rules. Okay. So first thing is the divisibility rules, and you also have properties of exactly division, integer division, right? And then you have this part, the formula divisibility, right? So when you have the formula divisibility, the most important thing to do is to consider it as exactly division and use the property of exactly division, the additive property, the multiplicative property of exactly division to solve the problem. Okay, so you need to look at this part. So I think this is in our short-term class lesson 2. You can go back and look at your notes. And also remainder is commonly tested knowledge in number series module. Okay, so what do I mean by concealed remainders here? That means it is a property of remainders, right? So we all know that the remainder of sum of two numbers is equal to the sum of remainder of two numbers. Okay. Yes, plus. Okay. Okay, and the product, the remainder of product of two numbers is equal to the product of remainder of two numbers. Okay, so you need to remember this. This is the concealed remainder property. Okay, so yeah, we'll also talk about this in later in the slide. Okay, then we look at the geometry part. So geometry part, I would say the first important thing is formula. All right, if you take our short-term class, you know that formula can actually help you solve many difficult questions. So the question is, how should we use the formula? Okay, so the formula can tell us that the difference in area comes from the difference in the side length or the height. Also, the ratio between areas comes from the ratio between side length and height. Okay, so this is how we can implement. Yes, this question we're going to use the dovetail model. So this is how we can implement the formula to help us solving geometry. The second important thing in geometry is the ratio models. Okay, so we have covered many ratio models: same height model, dovetail model, bird head model, and we also have similar triangle model, hourglass model. Right, we have many ratio models. Okay. So the most important thing about ratio model question is to observe. You find out the ratio. Okay, you find out the ratio model, and then you use the method to solve the question. Right. So for dovetail model, we connect the middle point, the intersection point, with all three vertices of the triangle. Right. So that's the method, and you need to be very familiar with all the ratio models. Okay, and we also have the Pythagorean Theorem. So Pythagorean Theorem is I think it's a secondary school material. Okay, it's in the past 3 years paper, the Pythagorean Theorem test. I was in the 19th question. Okay, it's one of the most difficult questions. Yes, good warning is that don't do the Pythagorean Theorem at the very beginning, okay? Because Pythagorean Theorem also come together with the hypotenuse diagram. So you need to do some rotations, okay? You need to do some rotations, and you need to do a calculation about the squares, right? Squares. You need to take the square root, okay? So it's very complicated. So my suggestion is to skip the Pythagorean Theorem question at first, okay? If you have extra time, then you can come back and try this question. Okay, and then we come to the combinatorics module. Okay, combinatorics module, we have many types of questions, right? So we have logic reasoning, we have pigeonhole principle, we have this number counting. Number counting is counting question, but you need to use some divisibility rules from the number series part. Okay, so this is the number counting part, and we also have extreme values. Now for the extreme values, it always, well, I wouldn't say always, but sometimes it comes together with the pigeonhole principle. All right, so when you have the pigeonhole principle, you need to consider the worst case scenario. Okay, so this is about the extreme values, but you also have dying problem. If you remember our shortened class, the last two questions from the lesson 6, okay, that's the dying problem. Okay, but for dying problem, I mean, you can try to do the listing and solve the problem. It's just take a lot more time, right? All right. So this is the first part of the knowledge points. So if you want to do well in NMOS Special Round, I suggest you to go back and read your notes on this part, okay, on this knowledge points. So this is the most known knowledge points for NMOS Special Round. And then the next part is my suggestion for your time arrangement in the exam, okay? So the basic principle is the following 4. So like I just mentioned, the questions are of similar value and difficulty, okay? The easy question in NMOS Special Round and the difficult question in Special Round, they have the similar difficulty, okay? And they're only 4 marks question and 5 marks question. Okay, so every question matters. But the time efficiency can differ on different type of question. For example, counting question need to do listing and enumeration, right? You need to do categorization first. So it will take a lot more time for you to do the counting question. But that's okay, because this time is worthy. Okay, you do the listing, you do the enumeration, you can get the marks. So spend time on counting questions. That's okay. But what you need to solve very quickly is the calculation question, the fraction calculation question, right? The geometry question, you need to observe, find out the model very quickly. So you need to spend less time on this kind of question. So we all know that there are 20 questions in Special Round, and you only have 90 minutes. Okay, so you need to spend an average of 3 minutes for the familiar questions. Okay, you need to solve this kind of question very quickly. And also, last but not least, okay, you need to reserve some time to fill your answers on the answer sheet. Okay. So many people think the 4th point is very ridiculous, right? But actually, this is something really happened to our students, okay? So you need to be very careful and check the answer on your answer sheet one more time before you submit it, okay? Make sure that the answer on your answer sheet is the answer you get for the question. All right, so based on the difficulty level, we divide this 20 questions into 4 categories. Okay, so for the basic category, the basic easy questions, for these questions, okay, if you have learned the knowledge point, you can solve them. So like the fraction calculation part, right? So if you want to get a top 30 or you want to get a gold medal, you need to, I would say you need to score all 12 marks for these 3 questions. You need to get these easy questions all correct. Okay, and then for the intermediate level question, so this kind of question tests you the method, right? So the method is about, like, for example, number theory questions. Yeah, hello Lucas. Okay, so this tests you about the number theory questions. Okay, the geometry question, right? If you know the models, if you are familiar with the models, you can solve this kind of question. So if you want to get a gold medal, okay, gold medal, you need to get at least half of this question correct. Is it possible to get a perfect paper? What do you mean by perfect paper? Okay. Okay, so the difficult question requires some out-of-the-box thinking. Okay, so there are 5 difficult questions that requires out-of-the-box thinking. So if you do remember, we have a logical reasoning question about the dice, right? The number of dots on the surface. So in order to find out the number of dots on the surface, you need to first find the opposition, right? The opposite face. And to find the opposite face, you need to look at the direction of dots. So that is tells you about the out-of-box thinking, right? So if you want to get this gold medal, okay, you need for the difficult questions, 5 difficult questions, you need to score at least 1 question correct, okay? And like I said, there will be 1 to 2 very challenging questions, test you the senior school knowledge, okay? So like the hypotenuse diagram question, the Pythagorean theorem question, right? Like the Pythagorean theorem question, okay? So I think only 1 out of 400 students can get it correct. So it's okay if you don't score this, okay? It's okay if you give up, because everyone don't know how to solve this question. It's okay, it's totally fine, right? So here's my suggestion. Here's my suggestion for your time arrangement, okay? So when you get your paper, you can spend 2 to 3 minutes to go through all the questions and circle the question that you're familiar with, okay, that you know that you can solve, okay? Then you use the next 45 minutes to do these questions, okay? So in this 45 minutes, you should get all these familiar questions correct, right? Then you can try your next 30 minutes for the difficult questions. Remember, we have 5 difficult questions. So you can try use 30 minutes, half an hour for these 5 difficult questions, okay? Then for the last 10 minutes, what you really need to do is to do double checking, okay? You need to check your calculation. Don't make any silly mistake. And you need to check the answer that filled in with your answer sheet is correct, okay? So don't make any silly mistake. Okay, always remember, reserve 10 minutes to do the double check. Okay, so the next part is about the skills and strategy, right? So there's some strategy that we can use in NMOS Special Round. Okay, let's see. Now this year, according to NUSH, okay, what about the senior knowledge question? I would say if you know the knowledge, if you have learned the knowledge, you can try. You can try the question. But if you haven't learned the knowledge, okay, so when you read through all the questions, you should know, you should have an idea in your mind, right? Okay, whether you know this knowledge or not. If you don't know the knowledge, just skip it. Just give up. Okay, no worries. Just give up. Okay, don't be afraid to give up questions. So, according to NUSH, this year's paper will be, the special round paper will be hard. So, teacher Ethan's score expectation for this year's special round is, if you want to get a gold medal, okay, ideally you should score above 45 marks. And if you want to get into IMSO, okay, that's top 30, that's top 20, sorry, that's top 20. You need to get around 60, okay? If you want to go to top 30, above 55, okay, around, that's the expectation. And if you want to get into top 10, the best 10 students, you need to get almost every question correct, except the challenging question, okay? You need to get all the questions correct, except the challenging question. So that's 75. Alright, so the common principles in when you do the exam, right? So first, okay, you can order the questions biocapacity. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means you can circle the very familiar question that you have confidence in getting the full marks. Okay, you do that question first, and then you do the question that you think you might get correct. Okay, so for round 1, no, this expectation is only for round 2. Okay, this expectation is only for special run. Okay, only special run. Yes. Okay. Now the second part is very important. When you meet a question that you cannot solve, just skip it. Don't waste time on it. You only have 90 minutes. Okay, you only have 90 minutes, and you got 20 very difficult questions. So skip the difficult question where it troubles you. Okay. Okay. The third part is just like I said. You need reserve 10 minutes to double check your answer. Okay. You need to check if you have made any calculation errors. Okay. If you make any stupid errors. Okay. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. All right. Yeah. Okay, and then the fourth part, okay, that's the teacher Ethan's suggestion. Concentrate on your fancy. So that means if you really don't like counting problem, just keep counting. Okay, if you like to do the geometry, do the geometry question first. Okay, do the question that you are good at first. Okay, get all these points. All right. Alright, so this strategy. So here's the strategy that you can use in detail. Okay, so for the calculation part, if you meet new operation question, right? If you really can't recall the method we taught you, just use the stupid method. Use the stupid method. Okay, do the calculation. You only have to do the operation 4 times in this question, right? So it won't take you a very long time. Because you know what, when we have the mock test, right? When we have the mock test, normally most of you complete the whole test in 45 minutes and sit there doing nothing. Okay, when you don't know how to do the calculation question, how to use the method, okay, just do the stupid calculation. Okay, there are only 4 operations. Do the calculation one by one. Okay, and then, okay, for the word problem, like I said, NUSH really encourages students to use algebra. Okay, so when you see word problem, you can use algebra, try to solve the problem, right? But for distance problem, remember what I just said. For distance problem, I do encourage you to draw a diagram and list all the information and see whether you can use ratio or you can use algebra. Okay, if you can use ratio, you can solve the distance problem very quickly. Okay, so for distance problem, if you can use ratio, use ratio. If you can't, just use algebra. Okay, and for number series questions, remember the knowledge point I just told you, right? Remainders are concealed in sum and difference. Okay, so the remainder of sum is equal to the sum of remainder. And same, the remainder of product is equal to the remainder of product. Okay. All right. And for the difficult part, the combinatorics. So for the combinatorics, the most challenging questions are normally in combinatorics module. Okay, so if you really can't do the question, okay, just skip. Okay, but for the question, for logic reasoning question, just try your best. Okay, if you can't really solve, skip. Okay, don't waste time on it. And for the geometry question, my suggestion is just like what I've taught. If you can use the formula, use the formula. Okay, if you can find the ratio model, use the ratio model. Okay, and for the difficult question like the Pythagorean theorem question, okay, you can try to find the symmetry and do the rotation. When you see the Pythagorean theorem question, okay, I bet they will test this in the special round this year. Okay, so when you see the Pythagorean theorem question, try to do the rotation. Okay, just try. Okay, it won't cost you anything. Just try to do the rotation. All right, and for the last part is teach you how to overcome your limitation. All right. So if you're aiming for a gold medal, okay, you should first set a ladder goal in the process. So when you read through all the questions, okay, you need to circle some questions that you are very confident in. Do those questions first, okay? Get 20 marks. Get yourself 20 marks, okay? Do this 4 or 5 easy questions for you, familiar questions for you. Get 20 marks, okay? And then try to do some questions that you think you might know the method to solve, okay? So you need to set a ladder goal in process. Do the familiar question first. All right, and another important thing is don't be hesitate to skip, okay? Like I said, there will be 1 or 2 very challenging questions, okay? The question you fail to do it, not most of the students will also fail to do, okay? They will also fail to solve. So just skip the challenging questions, okay? All right, and also don't forget to do the double check. Okay, I know many of you, okay, have many calculations error. All right, calculation error. Well, these marks are the marks that you can get. Okay, so don't make any silly mistakes. Don't make any calculation errors in the exam. Okay, so reserve 10 minutes to do the double check and to check the answers in your answer sheet. Okay. So, yes, it's better to seize easy questions, easy marks, than try the challenging questions, okay? All right, also, you need to have faith in your instinct, okay? So instinct here is, I think it has many meanings, right? If you are confident on a method, just do it, use the method, okay? If you face a very challenging question, you can have a guess, okay? So you can guess the answer. I know, well, if you do remember the Pythagorean Theorem question in the 2019 paper, so some students can guess the answer correct, then just guess the answer, okay? Don't leave any blank on your answer sheet. Guess the answer and fill in. All right, and the last thing is to believe in yourself, okay? You have go through all the past year papers, right? Like we said, NMOS like to test similar questions in consecutive years, okay? So you have solved similar questions. You have taken our short-term class, right? So you have taken our short-term class. So be confident in yourself, okay? When you see the similar questions, recall what the method we taught in the short-term class and try to solve the question. All right, and it's the time for question Q&A. Any questions? Don't talk about your subs. Any questions? Okay, if no question, I'll say So we'll have our NMOS round 2 paper run through, okay, after you finish the exam on the August 1st, okay, on Tuesday, next Tuesday, after you finish the exam. Teacher Ethan and I will have a NMOS round 2 paper run through. Okay, so I'll be doing the run through on our YouTube channel, and Teacher Ethan will be doing on our WeChat channel. Oh, you have a question? How to get into girls top 30? So yes, I see the question. How? Okay, if you want to get into girls top 30, well, you need to be very, very familiar with all the knowledge points I go through there today, right? So girls top 30 is not easy. Girls top 30 is probably at least top 60 in the NMOS Special Run, right? At least top 60 in the NMOS Special. So you need to be very familiar with all the knowledge points. Okay, so you can go back to check the notes, right? Okay, review the notes about this knowledge point tomorrow or the day after before the exam. Okay, and you need to, okay, you can actually you need to make, how many points? How many points? Actually, I would say, if you want to, let me go back to the expectation part, right? So if you want to get into the girls top 30, I would say you need to score above the gold medal score. So that's above 45, maybe around 50, okay? So you need to score a very high score, at least above 45. Okay, let me see another question. What should we do if we accidentally glimpse another paper? Okay, just pretend you didn't glimpse another paper. Okay, just do your own work. Do your own work, Shiv. Okay. Is the Pythagorean Theorem senior knowledge question 7? Okay, yes, the Pythagorean Theorem, I would say normally it's the one of the most challenging question in special run. Okay, so you can skip the Pythagorean Theorem question first, and then after you finish all other questions, come back and try to use the rotation method, right? So if you look here, you can try to use the symmetry and rotation method to solve the Pythagorean Theorem method question. Do they sum up round 1 and round 2? Yes, I think they do. Okay. What is the marks needed in total for both round 1 and round special run to get gold? Well, in last year, the total score, I would say to get a gold medal is around 80. Okay. So this year's first round paper is easier, but the special round paper is a lot more difficult. So if you want to get a gold medal, I would say probably still around 80. Okay, 80. Okay, what is the marks needed for? Okay, that. So should I try set 3 paper mock test? Well, Shiv, I would suggest you to go through our short-term class lesson 5. Okay, so we have, I think Teacher Turner have covered this, right? Teacher Turner have covered this. So as long as you master the method, the rotation method, and why and how to use the hypotenuse diagram, okay, I think you have a good chance solving the question. I don't really recommend you to do another mock test paper now, because you only have 1 day to before the exam, right? So what I suggest is to go back, okay, look at the questions we have covered, okay, look at your notes, and then try the question again one more time without looking at your notes. Okay? And try to understand why we do the rotation like this. Okay, any other questions? Anyone have any other questions? Okay, so everyone remember, on August 1st, after you finish the special run, okay, we will have a NMOS Special Round paper run through. Okay, teacher Ethan will be do the live on WeChat channel, and I'll be do the live on YouTube channel here. Rocket is chief. Okay. So if no one have any other questions, so that's all for today's sharing. All right. So you can watch the playback. Okay. Understand the rules. Understand the strategies. Okay. Go back, look at your notes. Review the knowledge points. Okay, so best luck to everyone. Best luck to everyone here. We should get a good score in NMOS Special Run. All right. Bye bye.